Magnuson sends Johnson into the rail head first as she flies around a couple of the Rustlers. And we've got 14 seconds and Jam still going. Abraham going at it with Blevins. And now finally referee Sean Corbin calls off the Jam, but 2 points for the New York Enforcers.
And the New York Enforcers finally on the board. Carrie Magnuson, we all know that she can block. We also know that she can jam, one of the few people in the World Skating League who do both. But you got to give some credit to these Texas Rustler women, Ken. They came to play today. Renee Blevins, Carrie Johnson, and the crew. They seem to have a different expression in their face. They look like they're a little bit more motivated than the usual. Usually these Sisters of Suffering intimidate. Not today.
And now jamming for the Enforcers, Heather Gunnan and Shelley Rossell, their two aces. The Enforcers have got to be wondering where did this Rustler team come from. It's not Texas we've seen throughout the season.
Well, Carrie Johnston came out setting a precedent for a nice physical game. But you know what, kid? That plays into the Enforcers' game plan. But Heather Gunnan on the track for the first time. You see that hamstring bandage. She's been hurt all season. Let's see if she can get off to a good start.
And right now, she is absolutely leading the pack. One of the Rustlers now finally breaking out, trailing by almost a half a lap. 43 is Laura Heiser, but interesting, I don't know if it's a hamstring honk, but Heather Gunnan literally slowed up, allowing Heiser to catch up to her. We'll see, and it was a bad play by Gunnan. Heiser puts her down, goes by Janet Abraham, and still going now. She's able to sneak by Karen Magnuson. Oh, what a jam by Laura Heiser out of Georgia. 5'10", 132, picking up 4 points, putting the Rustlers in the lead.
And early we saw these Texas Rustler women getting it done with defense. Well, now we see some bursts of offense, Ken. And Laura Heiser, no other than Heather Gunnan, taking it right to her and getting it done for the Texas Rustlers.
That's certainly a surprise. Even this crowd somewhat stunned. Last time these two teams battled each other, it was all New York from the get-go. And here it's a whole new day for the Texas Rustlers. Now out Shelley Rossell for the New York Enforcers. And very quickly being pursued by Laura Heiser, who loses her helmet. Now she gets it back on. Heiser coming off that very impressive 4-point jam moments ago. And you see the Rustler men, they're urging on Heiser. This was a whole new Texas team. Now, Shelley Rossell closes on Carrie Johnson, and Rossell uses the speed, goes right by her, and very quickly cuts off the jam, picking up only 1 point. Again, wearing their way very quickly. Hawk, even something new from Texas. They reform the pack. They are taking this game right to the Enforcers.
Well, they are definitely in a position where they're going to try what works, and they have no problem with taking risks. You know, Ken, they've been getting the heck beat out of them. Why not take some risks, try some new stuff, see what works? Hey, if you're getting the crap kicked out of you, got to try something new.
And now this time, Heather Gunnan wastes no time. She isn't slowing up to allow Heiser to catch up again. Karen Magnuson whips her high around the double block, set up by Blevins and Johnston. And Gunnan very quickly picks up 2 points for the New York Enforcers, putting New York up 5-4.
Well, Heather Gunnan never likes to be outdone, and we saw Laura Heiser get the better of her last jam, but she does it this time, Ken. Let's go to Roller Rules.
Head official of the WSL. If you think it's easy being in my skates, think again. Brian Gallagher and Eric Slopey were out on a jam in this game between the Rustlers and the Crates. When they got to the pack collapsed, and they had to go ahead. How many points would you give him? When Gallagher jumps the pack, he lands on the track, but Slopey lands on the infield. It's illegal for a jammer to pass on the infield. That means Gallagher gets 4 points, and Slopey gets a donut. Now you know the rule.
It's 5-4 New York, and a surprisingly tight.
At the end of one, it's the New York Enforcers 5, the Texas Rustlers 4. Welcome back, everyone, to RollerJam Arena. And perhaps Captain Mark D'Amato, as Enforcers, may have taken the Rustlers a little too lightly. Hawk, in the pregame show, you said it was going to be up to Laura Heiser to step it up, and in the fourth jam, she put the Rustlers right back in this one.
We're looking at these guys and these Rustlers like they've won the game, Ken. It's still really early, and of course, on the men's side of the ball, Mark D'Amato's going to have something to say in the second period.
Mark D'Amato, you don't have Posse Chalene to kick around anymore, but who's next on your list?
Right. Well, I'm going to make short work of these Rustlers. You know what happened last time. I'm bored with the Yak Attack. I'm bored with Brown. Shelter, you're next!
He's bored with everybody. I don't know if boredom on behalf of Mark D'Amato means going after a fellow human being. Obviously it does. But, of course, starting for the Rustlers, 45, Craig Fisher. Number 46, Sigmund Williams. 47, Chris Cheadle. 48, Bill Rocavert. And number 49, Bill Daly, rounding it out for the Rustlers. And for the New York Enforcers, we don't need to talk about them very much. Eichhorn, Gavani, Washington, Gamble, and D'Amato.
1-point game right now, and the question is, can the Texas Rustlers continue where the women left off? So far, just a great period for the Texas women, trailing this one by 1. And very quickly, one of the Rustlers, that's Sigmund Williams, sends Gavani into the railing, and again, the Texas Rustlers picking it up right where the men left off. Craig Fisher now coming around, and laying back is Mark D'Amato for the New York Enforcers. Down, a big elbow from D'Amato, hammering away at Fisher. Fisher doing a great job of staying on his skates as we're down under 15 seconds in this one. There's a kickoff from Tim Washington, and right away the referee calls off the jam. No point.
And the tandem of Tim Washington and Mark D'Amato time and time again results in things like this as number 45, Craig Fisher, receives the King Kong from Tim Washington. And he celebrates. The Sisters of Suffering love it. The crowd loves it. But I tell you what, I don't think Craig Fisher loves it. If this kind of punishment continues, Craig Fisher and the rest of the Texas Rustler men, it may be in for a long day, Ken. It could get ugly with that kind of punishment.
Again, Hawk, we can't get over it. I don't know what has transpired amongst the Texas Rustlers, but it was gut check time for them. You see Mark D'Amato trying to reach around and get Brian Gallagher. Gallagher breaks free, as does Chris Cheadle. Now finally coming up for the Enforcers is John Morrissey. But what an effort by Texas we are seeing early on.
Well, you saw Mark D'Amato before the jam squawking and quacking. He seems to have a preoccupation with Jerry Seltzer and everything going on off the track here in the World Skating League. These Texas Rustlers may be taking it to Mark D'Amato in the Foulborough lineup at the right time.
And right now you've got both the Rustlers, Chris Cheadle, number 47,